Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Light Sports Ramble. Friday night, and I hope everybody's going to enjoy the weekend. Got some big news for my listeners. I've actually had a chance to meet the creator of Fantasy World Order, and him and I have been talking, and we're going to set it up where my videos are now going to be able to be published on a website called Fantasy World Order, which is FWO365.com. For all of you fantasy people that are listening in, I suggest you go check it out. It's a pretty cool website. So we're going to endorse each other. And so as I do these things, I'm going to run into a fantasy series next week on the Ramble, and I think you're all going to enjoy that. But again, check out Fantasy World Order. The website is FWO365.com. And I look forward to having some of my videos published on the website. So Jay, thank you, and I look forward to working with you. But tonight's topic is about all of the quarterback competitions going on in training camp. There's 4 that are really highlighted here, and there's 3 I think that are kind of being pushed under the rug but are still important. So I think there's 7 really good quarterback competitions going on this training camp. We all know about the New York Jets. And so we're going to start right there. Get right to it on the top with Sanchez and Geno Smith. Both of them are confident when you watch the interviews that they're going to be the starting quarterback. And I'm not so sure the Jets are sold on Sanchez, and I said it in the Ramble when I did the preview. If Sanchez is not your guy, put Smith in there and let him take his lumps, because I don't think it's going to hurt his psyche. I think he's a very confident quarterback. But here's what I see. Sanchez is a guy that's been in the system, but he doesn't protect the ball. Smith, I think, has the attributes. He's got the arm, he's got the legs. I think he has good attributes to be a quarterback. However, he didn't run a pro-style offense in college, so he's got to pick the pro-style game up, and that could lead him to being the backup when the season starts. But if that happens, I don't see it being long before Geno Smith gets in the lineup. Then moving along, the next big quarterback competition is in Philadelphia. Chip Kelly coming in, looking for a certain type quarterback to run that offense, and I don't think that's Michael Vick. Chip Kelly wants an efficient quarterback that's not going to make a lot of mistakes. It means the arrow is pointing towards Foles. Now, Vick has been around in the league, good quarterback, but we all know he uses his feet to make things happen, and sometimes he's a little bit careless with the ball. A lot of fumbles from Michael Vick, and that's not going to sit well with Chip Kelly. And there's a dark horse in that race too, and that's their quarterback they drafted, Barkley. But I just don't think Barkley's ready to step into the NFL, especially in the city of Philadelphia. And I had mentioned this in the Ramble. That city will tear him up if he doesn't win. And so I think it's good for Barkley to be able to sit back, maybe take a year to learn. And I know Foles isn't that experienced either. But I could see Barkley down the road possibly being the man to run Chip Kelly's offense in Philadelphia. So we'll see how that one unfolds. I think the starting quarterback on day one is Foles. I just think he fits what Kelly wants, and then you're going to see Vic on the sideline pouting. But I think that's how that competition rolls out. The next competition people are talking about is the one in Buffalo with Cobb and Manuel. I think Manuel's a prospect. I don't even know why this is a competition right now. I don't even think he's close to being the starting quarterback on day one. And I'm not going to ramble much about it. Cobb has experience. I don't think he's the long-term solution. I think Manuel could be. But for this year, I think you brought Cobb in for a reason. You drafted Manuel Hyde. I think you reached for him in the first round. But I think this will be a good experience for him. Let him learn behind Cobb, learn the offense, and then let him go in and show his stuff. Because right now you don't have a lot of playmakers around either of those quarterbacks. So it might be good for him just to learn the language, learn the game, and just develop him into a very solid quarterback. The other competition people are talking about is in Jacksonville, and I don't know why they're talking about it. Jacksonville's terrible. There's no playmakers there. Doesn't matter who the starting quarterback is. You need to get another quarterback there. You got Blaine Gabbert and Chad Henne. I think Gabbert's days are numbered because there's a new front office, and they may just move forward with Henne. But this is clearly going to be who can give us enough wins this year to position ourselves in the draft next year to get a quarterback. That's what it is this year. Neither one of those quarterbacks are the long term. So I'm not even sure why we're talking about the competition other than who's going to lead a depleted roster this year. I think it should be Henne. I think Henne's the guy that's going to give you a better chance to win. Because I haven't seen much out of Gabbert. And I don't think his teammates respect him. And I think there's 3 other competitions going on that aren't as touted so highly. And I don't think anybody has even brought this one up in Tennessee because everybody says it's Jake Locker's team. But they picked up Fitzpatrick. And I think Fitzpatrick has some qualities to be an efficient quarterback. He showed it in Buffalo. I mean, he was just a product of signing that huge contract, then laying an egg. But I'll tell you, before that, he put up some good games. He has the ability to do it. So I think Fitzpatrick has a talent base. Now, can he unseat Locker? I'm not so sure. Because I think he's the man from the top down, and it would have to take just an awesome preseason to do it. But you know what, Fitzpatrick? Go out and do it. Prove to that coaching staff that I should be the man, because I'll tell you what, they're going to play the man that's going to get wins because that coaching staff is on the hot seat. So just go out and do it, buddy. The other competition that's out there is the Oakland Raiders. And I kind of laughed about it in the Ramble, but you know what, Matt Flynn? It could be 2 years in a row that you get unseated by a draft pick. And I've said this all along, Matt Flynn. I like you because you're a former Packer, but you made your money in one game. And you sat behind Aaron Rodgers. And you probably know how to run a West Coast offense. But from the reports I'm reading and from the things I'm hearing, Tyler Wilson kind of lit it up in the OTAs. And if that guy prepares and is a fast learner, 2 years in a row you're going to be unseated as the penciled-in starting quarterback. So you better bring your A game to training camp because you got some competition with Wilson. And here's how I see that rolling out. I see Flynn, just because he has the NFL experience, beating him out in the preseason. But I see Wilson taking over at some time during the season. And finally, the last quarterback competition, and it's really not been talked about at all, and maybe because training camp just started, but it's in Cleveland. I talked about this. You got a whole new front office. Whedon was not their guy. Whedon is pushing 30. So is he the long-term solution? I don't think he is. Now, you didn't go out and sign anybody that would be. You got Hoyer and Campbell. But Campbell has had some success in the league. And Hoyer has some potential, but I don't see Hoyer being in that mix. I see it between Campbell and Whedon. And honestly, I see Campbell being able to beat out Whedon. And if you want to try to win immediately, I would go with Campbell. Because I don't think Whedon is the man there. So let's go back and recap, folks. 7 quarterback competitions that are going on in training camp. I think in Buffalo, I think Cobb should be the starter. Let Manuel sit, watch, learn, and eventually take over. The Jets, I think Geno Smith will get on the field at some point, depending on how fast he can pick up the pro-style game. Jacksonville, I think Henny should go in there. I'm not a big Blaine Gabbert fan. The Eagles, I think it's going to be Foles, just because he fits Chip Kelly's offense better than Vic does. In Tennessee, that's a toss-up. I think Fitzpatrick can do it if he goes out and shows that he's the man, but Locker's the man locked in the front office. But the coaching staff wants to win, so I think they'll go with Fitzpatrick at some point. In Cleveland, I think Campbell's going to beat out Whedon. And in Oakland, I think just because he has NFL experience, Matt Flynn starts the season at quarterback. But I like this Wilson guy, and I think he overtakes Matt Flynn at some point during the season when the Raiders aren't winning. So again, folks, as I mentioned earlier, I'm now starting to endorse with FWO365.com. Check it out. Fantasy World Order. I look forward to being published on that website. I'll see you at the next red light. Enjoy your weekend.